Shalom, shalom. Today I'm not going to be reading out of the Nag Hammadi, but I'm going to look at the Book of Jubilees today. And I'm going to read some parts where Moses actually went up to the mountain and was speaking with Yahawah Sabbaoth. Okay? I'm pretty sure everybody always was wondering, what did he all say on the mountain to Moses? You know, besides just giving him the tablets and that was it. No. There was far more stuff that was not put in the 1611 and the Apocrypha. All right, some things were actually put in here. Like, it feels to me that a lot of stuff has been, little parts here, little parts there. It's like you make one book where you have this one missing, and then you make another book where you add the parts that was missing, but the part that you put in the other book was missing. It's like everything's just scattered all over the place. So our job is to put everything together, because you know what? We want to know the whole goddamn truth. All right. So this is a feel good video to me, I think. So I'm gonna read y'all from the Book of Jubilees. This is starting off from when Moses went up to the mountain. Okay, so we're gonna start from here. This is the history of the division of the day of the law and the testimony of the event of the years, of their year, weeks, of their jubilees throughout all the year of the world, as the world spoke to Moses, as the Lord spake to Moses on Mount Sinai, when he went up to receive the tablets of the law and of the commandments, according to the voice of God, as he said unto him, go up to the top of the mountain. Here we go. Get our comfort here. Okay. Chapter 1. And it came to pass in the first year of the exodus of the children of Israel out of Egypt, in the 3rd month, on the 16th day of the month, that God spake to Moses, saying, come up to me on the mountain, and I will give thee 2 tablets of stone of the law and of the commandment which I have written, that thou mayest teach them. And Moses went up into the mountain of God, and the glory of the Lord abode on Mount Sinai, and a cloud overshadowed it 6 days. And he called to Moses on the 7th day out of the midst of the cloud. And the appearance of the glory of the Lord was like a flaming fire on the top of the mountain. And Moses was on the mountain 40 days and 40 nights. And God taught him the earlier and the later history of the division of all the days of the law and the testimony. Key word. He taught him the earlier and the later history of the division of all the days of the law and the testimony. See, he showed him the past and he showed him the future. And he said, incline thy heart to me, to every word which I shall speak to thee on this mount, and write them in the book, in order that their generations may see how I have not forsaken them for all the evil which they have wrought in transgression, in transgressing the covenant which I established between me and thee for their generations this day on Mount Sinai. And thus it will come to pass, when all these things come upon them, that they will recognize that I am more righteous than they in all their judgments and in all their actions. And they will recognize that I have been truly with them. And do thou write for thyself all these words which I declare unto thee this day. For I know their rebellion and their stiff neck, before I bring them into the land of which I swear to their fathers, to Abraham and to Isaac and to Jacob, saying, unto your seed will I give a land flowing with milk and honey. And they will eat and be satisfied, and they will turn to strange gods, to gods which cannot deliver them from aught of their tribulation. And this witness shall be heard for a witness against them. For they will forget all my commandments, even all that I command them, and they will walk after the Gentiles and after their uncleanness, and after their shame, and will serve their gods, and this will prove unto them an offense, and a tribulation, and an affliction, and a snare. So we actually went through the tribulation already. This is our tribulation. So whatever comes next is not on us. It's on the Gentiles. Okay? So all the murdering, killing, raping, robbing, abuse, slavery, chastising, rebukes, bywords, hates, lynchings. This is our tribulation. This was our tribulation. And we're at the end of it. All right? We are at the end of our tribulation. Now it's their turn. And many will perish, and they will be taken captive, and will fall into the hands of the enemy, because they have forsaken my ordinance and my commandments, and the festivals of my covenant, and my Sabbaths, and my holy place, which I have hallowed for myself in their midst, and my tabernacle, and my sanctuary, which I have hallowed for myself in the midst of the land, that I should set my name upon it, and that it should dwell there. And they will make to themselves high places and groves and graven images, and they will worship each his own graven image, so as to go astray. And they will sacrifice their children to demons, and to all the works of the error of their hearts. Okay, so if there's no such thing as demons, why would he say sacrifice their children to demons? You got to think about this. If in the books it says strange gods, if those strange gods didn't exist at all, why would he call them strange gods? Why wouldn't he just say rocks and stones? Why would he give names of certain things that don't even exist? Okay, so you get this? So if Yahawah Sabbaoth says, okay, you're sacrificing to a strange god, if it's just a rock, why would he just say you're sacrificing into a rock? You know, you're doing all this in folly. There's nothing there but a rock. Why would he call it a god? Why would he call a rock a god? Unless he knows who he's talking about. He's talking about the archons. He was talking about the authorities and high places. All right? This is what Yahawah is talking about. Anytime he mentions gods, other gods, he's talking about you're praying to these authorities who are against me. All right? In the Nag Hammadi, there's a chapter where Yahawah Sabbaoth is rebelling against all the hosts of heaven, which are the authorities and archons. Because of Sophia gave him so much power, they all became jealous. So that's why she's, made him, we're going to get into that later. But this is why he doesn't like us praying to these things, because they're against him. He's solitary and we're solitary. That's why, like above shall below. All the hosts are against him. All the nations are against us. Y'all get it now? Y'all get the connection? Like above, so below. What he went through, we're going through. You know why? Because Yahawah is our Father. That's why. They hate the Father and they hate the children, which are us. And they will sacrifice their children to demons, not to empty vain rocks or empty vain nothingness. He's calling these things demons, meaning he's telling you that they're sacrificing their children to other authorities and archons who are against him, who are lower than him. So he's telling you guys the truth in the book, in your face, and y'all are under the impression that, it's just a rock that that there's just a made-up god that they made up in their heads that don't exist. So that's why he calls them strange gods, because they're really nothing. You know how stupid that sounds? That sounds real stupid. I'm going to say this again. If there were rocks and stones, then he would just call them rocks and stones. He would just call them made-up gods. He would just call them made-up things that don't even exist. He would get into detail. He wouldn't call them strange gods. He says you would worship strange gods, also wood and stone. You get me? and to all the works of the error of their hearts. And I will send witness unto them, that I may witness against them. But they will not hear, and will slay the witness also. And they will persecute those who seek the law, and they will abrogate and change everything so as to work evil before my eyes. And I shall hide my face from them, and I shall deliver them into the land of the Gentiles for captivity, and for prey, and for devouring. And I shall remove them from the midst of the land, and I shall scatter them amongst the Gentiles. And they will forget all my law, and all my commandments, and all my judgments, and will go astray as to new moons, and Sabbaths, and festivals. New moons, and where am I at? New moons. Yeah. New moons and Sabbaths. So guess what? Saturday is not Sabbath. Saturday is not the Sabbath. Saturday is not the Sabbath. It says they will go astray as to new moons and Sabbaths, because the Sabbaths, they go by the equinox. And if everything's switched up and changed, guess what? So also will the Sabbath change, you know? So, because in the book of Jubilees, it's either Jubilees or the book of Joshua, where they actually know it's Jubilees, where he actually tells you how many days are actually in the year. And guess what? It's 364 days in a year, not 365 days in a year. Them changing the new moons and Sabbaths, by adding an extra day, which throws everything off. Everything was even, now everything's odd. So the days are always going to be moving a day forward every year, if that makes sense. The math don't add up right. How the hell can the Sabbath be on a Saturday when everything changes every year? Are all the days the same every year, or do they move forward? You know? Is that wicked holidays always on the same day of the same month, or does it move forward? Like, what I mean by day, I mean like, say Christmas, December 27th, does it always fall on a Friday? Does it always fall on a Friday? Does it always fall on a Wednesday? That's what I mean by the same day. Or does that day change, but the number stays the same, but the days change? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Does it stay on the same day? That's what I'm pretty much saying. And it doesn't. Okay, here we go. Jubilees and ordinances. And after this, they will turn to me from amongst the Gentiles with all their heart, and with all their soul, and with all their strength. And I shall gather them from amongst all the Gentiles, and they will seek me, so that I shall be found of them, when they seek me with all their heart and with all their soul. And I shall disclose to them abounding peace with righteousness, and I shall remove them the plant of uprightness with all my heart and with all my soul, and they will be for a blessing and not of a curse. And they will be the head and not the tail. And I shall build my sanctuary in their midst, and I shall dwell with them, and I shall be their God, and they will be my people in truth and righteousness. And I shall not forsake them, nor fail them, for I am the Lord their God. And Moses fell on his face and prayed and said, O Lord my God, do not forsake thy people and thy inheritance, so that they should wander in the error of their hearts. And do not deliver them into the hands of their enemies, the Gentiles, lest they should rule over them and cause them to sin against thee. Let thy mercy, O Lord, be lifted up upon thy people, and create in them an upright spirit. So Moses is asking Yahawah Sabbaoth to give them a spirit to follow the law and not leave them as they are, which is stiff-necked and rebellious. He's literally asking them like in Jeremiah, how in Jeremiah it says that we're involved in a new covenant, how he's going to make us a new heart, a new spirit. Why wouldn't he make us a new heart, a new spirit then? Why is he going to make it later? Unless us falling away from his commandments was already going to happen anyway because of how he made us. Something to think about. And let not the spirit of Belair rule over them to accuse them before thee. Okay, now if Moses is saying Belair, then obviously Belair exists, or else he wouldn't have said it. Obviously, this isn't a made-up God who's like just made up out of thin air that doesn't even have any type of existence. This is not an imaginary thing he's saying. He's obviously saying that because Belair actually exists. Open your minds, guys. You got to stretch that mind out. Belair rule over them to accuse them before thee, and to ensnare them from all the paths of righteousness, so that they may perish from before thy face. But they are thy people and thy inheritance, which thou hast delivered with thy great power from the hands of the Egyptians. Create in them a clean heart and a holy spirit, and let them not be ensnared in their sins from henceforth until eternity. So Moses is asking Yahawah Sabbaoth to give them a clean heart. From the jump, he's saying, I know they're rebellious and stiff-necked, so can you please fix them so we can follow your laws, so everything you just said do not happen. Moses is literally asking him from the jump, can you please fix them so they don't fall away from the law? Yeah. Book of Jubilees, the books that these camps tell you to stay away from. Why would I stay away from this when this is literally speaking majority of things that are in the 1611?